I don't think it should be called world building or character building. I feel like it's not a very natural way of thinking about what you're doing as a writer when you're coming up with characters and coming up with the environments that they live in and how those environments work, or the environments that they end up getting themselves involved in, the circumstances essentially. Because before you start creating events, before you start thinking of how situations are going to progress, what people end up doing, well, you spend some time getting to know your uh, the environment and the places in that environment. You spend time getting to know where the nice places are, where the bad places are, where the dangerous places are, and so on. And you spend time getting to know who the people are. Who are the random people that you might just pass on the street? And who are the really important main people that we're really going to spend a lot of time with and really get to know? And I think this is a way more natural way of thinking about it rather than character building and world building. Instead, maybe just think about it as I'm getting to know my characters and where they are, what sort of places they're going to get involved in, what are their attitudes towards certain things, what are their worldviews, how do they generally respond to things, what are all of the different types of personalities that this person or these people can actually embody. Just checking that's still recording. Yeah, because people are very complex, and circumstances and places can be very complex sometimes as well, but people in particular, there's a whole bunch of angles about people that you can really explore and get to know. And it would be really cool actually to have a bunch of questions that can ask you about the people and the places in your story. They ask you questions like the questions I just asked you then, what are their worldviews? What are their opinions about this or that? I don't know, where are the nice places, where are the bad places, the dangerous places, so on. There's hundreds of questions that you can ask, and if you can answer all of them, or most of them, or a lot of them, then you really know your story, where you really know the places, really know the circumstances, and if they're good or bad to be in certain places. More importantly, you really know the people. You really know what they're like. You really know how they react. So yes, I don't like to think of it as world building or character building anymore. I like to think of it as this phase of getting to know, really getting to know the people and the places, and the way in which, I guess, events seem to play out often. You might be writing a story about how events, I don't know, how fate is supportive and always helps and gives signs. Or you might be writing a story where God has abandoned people, or people have ignored God. And you might be writing a world that depicts what that looks like, bleak and hopeless, where everything is just bleak and hopeless and things don't work out well for people. Like Game of Thrones, ruthless. That's events played out ruthlessly. Not all events in stories tend to play out as ruthless as they did in that show, so that's something you're getting to know as well. And then once you have spent some time getting to know all of these details, well, then you can really start to contemplate and think and reflect about how situations might progress and what sort of, messages and opinions that you have, and how you might want to portray those in the story. But that's a whole other thing. I'm just talking about that initial stage where you really do spend some time getting to know rather than building you know. So there you go.